An Egyptian high-level source has confirmed that a joint statement will be issued soon and has announced that an agreement has been reached to end the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza through mediation efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, an Egyptian high-level source has confirmed that a joint statement will be issued soon and has announced that an agreement has been reached to end the suffering of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip through mediation efforts. And now we start off with our economic bulletin, and we start with the United States, that as consumer prices rose by 0.4% in December, marking the largest increase in 9 months, driven by a 2.6% surge in energy prices, including a 4.4% jump in gasoline costs. Food prices also saw a 0.3% rise. Despite inflation remaining elevated at 2.9% year-on-year, underlying price pressures showed signs of easing, with core inflation, excluding food and energy, up by 0.2%. The Federal Reserve is expected to take a cautious approach to interest rate cuts, with markets betting on a rate reduction in June. The central bank's focus remains on addressing inflation, with President-elect Trump's economic policies adding uncertainty. The Mortgage Bankers Association has stated that the average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage rose to 7.09% in the week ending January 10th, the highest in 8 months, continuing a 5-week upward trend. Despite the Federal Reserve cutting short-term borrowing rates, mortgage rates have been climbing, influenced by rising Treasury yields amid inflation concerns and fiscal challenges. This increase in mortgage rates, coupled with rising house prices and limited supply, is putting additional pressure on prospective home buyers. The U.S. Treasury Department has reported that the U.S. government recorded an $87 billion budget deficit in December. This was driven partly by a shift of benefit payments into November, while marking a $711 billion deficit for the first 3 months of the current fiscal year. The December deficit was significantly lower than the $129 billion posted the same month last year. However, the overall fiscal year-to-date deficit rose by 39%, or $201 billion, compared to 2024, as government spending increased and revenues slightly declined. U.S. imports from China saw a strong finish to 2024, driven by the stockpiling of goods such as apparel, toys, furniture, and electronics ahead of Donald Trump's proposed tariffs. Imports surged by 14.5% in December, with an uptick in final goods shipments as businesses prepared for potential tariffs of 10 to 60% on consumer products. In 2024, U.S. imports from China, including bedding, toys, and machinery, rose 15% compared to 2023. Moving on to Europe, Germany's economy contracted 0.2% in 2024, following a 0.3% decline in 2023, marking the second consecutive year of shrinkage. The country is now only 0.3% larger than in 2019, highlighting its stagnation over the past 4 years. Weak consumer spending, rising energy costs, high interest rates, and competition from China have hit Germany's economy hard. Exports, particularly in cars and industrial machinery, shrank as global trade grew. The Office for National Statistics has reported that British inflation eased unexpectedly in December, with the annual rate dropping to 2.5% from 2.6% in November. Core inflation, closely monitored by the Bank of England, also fell more than expected, providing a boost to financial markets after recent volatility. Finance Minister Rachel Reeves welcomed the news, but emphasized the need for continued efforts as analysts forecast that inflation could rise above 3% in early 2025. Markets have almost fully priced in 2 rate cuts for the year ahead, up from a 60% likelihood before the data release.